My name is Joshua, and I am the Tribune. It's very important to understand that God holds a high level of importance to consistency and discipline, specifically in the areas that you don't like and that you don't want to do. This is what He looks at to gauge if you're ready to receive His commissions. Now, the reason why you have to understand this is because if you think, wow, I'm doing so much and I'm doing, I have this drive over here and I'm doing that and I really feel like I'm doing a great job over here, but how come I'm not getting commissions from God? How come He's not coming to me and finding me and giving me new things? Or speaking to me about my purpose? Or about things that I really want to hear and know about myself? It could be because you are not being diligent in the areas that you don't like. It's really important to Him because this is how He trains you with relationship with Him. This is how you get to know His character. And this is how you get to know yourself and how you really prune yourself and sharpen your character. This is how He does it. He gives you things that you don't like and expects you to be very diligent in them. Now, the reason for that is because the first thing, as you're diligent in things that you don't like, that He has actually commanded you to do or not do, it takes a level of faith. Your faith grows because it takes a high level of faith to move forward in things that you think that are not good for you. But God said you need to do that. You need to go in that direction. You need to stop doing this. It's good for you because He says it's good for you. Now, most people, when they talk about faith, they talk about doing mighty things, doing huge missions, doing big purposes. No. The greatest level of faith that God loves so much is when you trust Him when it looks like you're going backwards, or it looks like you are doing opposite of what you want to do, or where He doesn't have you exactly where you think you should be, and He has you doing something that you actually hate. And you trust that, God, you have the absolute best for me. You are so wise and loving. There's no way you could be wrong. It's impossible. So I'm going to do this in diligence and in faith. I'm going to go backwards for you. I'm going to be stagnant for you. Sometimes it's going to feel like you're not even moving. You're not doing anything. It looks like you're not going in any specific direction that's worthwhile. It could very well be that He has ordered you to do that to make sure that you are strong in your character and that you get to know Him, and He will prove this to you. He will prove His character through you by proving that you didn't know what was best for you. By proving that He knew exactly what you should be doing, even if you didn't think you should be doing it, and even if you don't like it. He will give you treasure out of doing the things that you don't like consistently. Now, it's important to understand that when people talk about consistency and they talk about moving forward in power, a lot of people talk about drive. They just talk about how you just need this to drive to do it. No. Drive doesn't work for these kind of things that you don't want to do, that God is telling you need to do. The reason why drive doesn't work is because that's not what drive is for. Drive, when you're doing something that you don't want to do, that God is ordering you to do, lasts for 2 seconds. He is not going to keep you necessarily motivated all the time to do these things. What He's going to expect is discipline, relentless dedication, even when you don't feel good. What drive does, how God uses drive, is He uses your drive to point you to the direction that you need a new level of consistency in and discipline in. Anything that you're excited about, that you think, oh wow, this is going to be amazing, I'm going to go do this thing, that's going to peter out over time. It's not going to take too long where you're not going to be too excited consistently about that thing. And you're still going to have to do it. So what God does is he actually starves you of relying on drive and feeling good and fuzzy feelings to accomplish certain missions. Now, he very much studies this. He looks at this and he actually sits with you and teaches you how to move forward in this way. And this is how you get commissions from God. He looks at this principle of consistency in things you don't like, more than he looks at how passionate you are about things you do like. Because anybody can do that. Even Satan's children can actually be passionate about something they like for a short amount of time. Or be consistent. There's so many who can do that. But when you're working with God, he actually specifically points you against totally opposite what you think you want to do. That's the catch. Through that, you get relationship. You learn about his character. You learn how he will keep you and teach you in these situations. You learn that he's right. You start trusting that he knows what's best. On top of that, your faith grows. Your faith grows for everything you're going to need your faith for moving forward in the future. Now, another thing that's really important about this, that God actually commands you to do things you don't like and to actually be consistent moving forward in them for however long he asks you to be. There's no time limit on this. Is because you are going to face huge attacks and spiritual warfare in your purpose, doing something you really love doing that fulfills you, that he has prepared for you. So he's training you so you can actually hold what will really matter to you. That's what he's doing. Because there's a couple levels of spiritual warfare. There's many levels, but there's two specific ones that I'm after today to explain to you, so you can understand what you're going to be warring against with the thing you love and why he's training you with something you don't want to do and why you need to be consistent in that thing. Relentlessly obedient. It's because the first thing you're going to fight is yourself. You are not going to feel great all the time. Now, of course, everybody knows this. But remember, I'm talking about working with God. So I'm not talking about like I just have a bad day. I'm talking about how I feel impotent to do what he's asking me to do. I feel like I'm talking about when you feel like he is actually giving me something that I can't do. And in them, I need to hear him right now and trust my relationship with him. And even through my failures, I need to not condemn myself, talk to God about it, and still do what he's asking me to do, which the thing that I like. I'm talking about how when you are moving forward in your purpose and you feel fear about something, you feel fear because you have talked yourself into some kind of fear, which maybe you should even be afraid of something. You're going to have to still move forward in something you love and that you're passionate about, even with that. And you'd be surprised. It feels the exact same as doing something you don't want to do in those moments. But those moments, even if you feel that in those moments, it's so crucial to keep going in certain moments that he is going to train you so he knows and you know that even it doesn't matter how I feel, whether it's for 2 weeks, 1 day, or 30 minutes. I will get the job done because I've been trained to move forward with things I don't like. So what he does is he trains you when you don't have anything you like around. Nothing. You don't have anything you like. You're doing something you don't like completely. There's barely anything to even be like, wow, I actually like this. And he says, be consistent there. Then it's much easier later to be consistent when you really need to, when it really counts. Another thing is Satan. Satan is going to come for you later. His assignment is always to stop your assignment with God. I've said this in my other videos. He is absolutely not concerned about these frivolous, stupid, foolish things that us humans are so concerned about. Our house, our car, this happened here, this broke, my clothes, all these foolish things. He's not concerned about that. Hey, I don't even think he's concerned really about our relationships with each other. He's using whatever he can, and he will come to you and use whatever he can get to you with to stop you from doing God's mission. This is why you need to also make sure that you go in this place with God and be obedient and consistent in things you don't like and you don't feel good about. That he's saying, I need you to do this, or I need you not to do this. Don't go over here. Stop working with these people. Stop socializing with these people. Because these are things you're going to face. And the feeling, you're going to feel it. So it's protection from yourself, protection from spiritual warfare from the enemy, which you need that. You're going to need it. And also, this is something to really understand. You are going to go through these difficult times where you're doing things you don't like, specifically that thing. You think that when you get to your purpose with God and you're doing something that you love so much, that fulfills you to the highest degree, you think you will never feel like you feel right now doing what you don't want to do. But it's not true. You need to know it absolutely does at times feel like that. The reason why there's so much pain sometimes, even when you're doing your purpose that God has prepared for you that's so beautiful, is because it's so valuable. The weight of the value of it is extreme. So you would think that moving forward in something so amazing feels always so amazing. But we forget that that wonderful thing comes with an extreme amount of weight. The weight is because it's valuable to us. I'll give you an example. The fear of even something coming against and stopping something you really, really are passionate about is enough to break so many people. And I'm not talking about things things that God's not even in. That's hard enough. I'm talking about what God gives. They're so wonderful and so powerful and so important that comes with weight, that just the thought of something destroying it can break you. Just 1 second of thinking that could actually just wipe you out. So those things will come. Those times will come because they're supposed to come. Nothing's wrong when this happens. So he's getting you ready for a level of weight that you're going to feel over here. It's going to transfer over. But the point is, by the time you go through your training and continue doing things you don't want to do, you will be ready and you can hold this weight over here, which means you can actually enjoy what God's giving you. Because if he doesn't train you with something you don't like, then the weight that will transfer over with something that you love that he's going to give you, a commission, a mission, a purpose, it will rob you from the joy. So really, he's about your joy and peace in the coming era. This is what he's about because he doesn't want you to miss it. He doesn't want you to miss the pleasure that's coming. So it's important to understand that he actually does very much he looks very closely at you when you're not doing what you don't want to do, that he said, I need you to do that. That disqualifies you from receiving commissions from him. Because what it says is, number one, you're not doing it in friendship with me. You will do something for your friend that you don't necessarily want to do, that you don't like. for your partner. You'll do something for your partner that you just, I'm not really into it. But because you love that person, you will endure things with them. That's what relationship is. So that's the first thing. He says, okay, well, they don't really love me. They're not wanting to be friends with me. Which means that they're not doing this for the right reason, which means that already they're at a disadvantage for purpose because they'll crumble. And then on top of that, if they can't handle doing something they don't like, what happens when I give them an important mission and we move forward in it and something happens they don't like or they don't expect or they don't understand? They're just going to stop? No. He's too wise for that. He's not going to let that happen. So this message is for people who think that all they need to do is what they like and think that they can actually not do the things they don't like. I'm here to tell you that God actually looks closer at those things that you're not doing that you don't like, that He has told you you need to do. He looks closer at those things than He does how great you are at something you like. Another part of this is the thing you think you like is probably just a teaser to what you're really going to do. It's just like 2% of what He has for you. So you could be really, really just intense on just doing this and loving it and so focus on that you don't prepare for the greater thing. So He's not trying to take anything from you. He's not giving you things you don't like because He's mean or He doesn't care or he's just malicious, or it doesn't make any sense. That means you don't know God if you're thinking these things. It's important to get to know His character. And one of the ways that you know His character and get to know Him as in a deep relationship, as a friend, is you are consistent with doing things that you don't like or not doing something that you want to do. That's a whole other side of it. You get mighty treasure from this. So I want to encourage the people who are looking at their life and saying, Lord, I'm ready for a commission. I'm ready to start preparing with you. I'm ready to move forward in purpose with you. Before you even start thinking of those things, you need to look at the things in your life that He's pointed to that you are not being consistent in. He highly, highly values consistency in those areas. After you accomplish consistency, diligence, obedience, and discipline in the things that you don't really like, you will see that He will trust you with so much. He will trust you with the most beautiful things for you. Because He knows that you will hold on to them even through the storms, even when you misunderstand what's happening, even when something happens that you think that shouldn't have happened. Another last thing that you need to understand about this side of God is that He knows what strategy He has for the future to get you not only to purpose, but move and navigate you through your assignment that will bring Him glory. Part of the way He does that is He actually brings you through crazy hard situations and situations where you think you're getting totally screwed, and brings you out of those situations in such power that people have to say, who is their God? How did that even happen for them like that? So in order to carry forth His unusual strategy, you are going to have to be built up where you're not so selfish that you want it your way. Because he already knows how he's going to do things in your life. And he needs to build the character in you that you can actually not just give up or crumble because you think now something happened that is just against you. You need to know that God is doing something through that, and he has such power coming out of that. If you can just stay with him and move with him on his strategy to carry forth his agenda. This is my last point. God's strategy and his agenda for your life is designed to bring him glory. Which means it's not going to look necessarily like you think it should look at certain pivotal points. The most pivotal points, the most important moves of God in your life come when you are not expecting certain things to happen that you don't like necessarily. So he has to get you ready for this. And trusting his character, knowing that he will bring you out so wonderfully, is what gets you through those times. Now, he's not looking for always you to just to be happy, clappy, just like, oh yeah, this people who are like that all the time is a big problem. I think that they're totally fake people, or they're not doing anything with God, because you cannot be happy, clappy, just skipping around all the time. He doesn't expect that of you. He expects diligence and consistency, even if you're just quiet. Now, he doesn't like negativity, because that will dampen your spirit and it actually clouds your ears and blinds you and so many other things. But what I'm saying is, you don't have to look at it as, I just love doing this. No, you don't have to lie to yourself. He knows you don't like doing it. That's not the point. You don't have to say you like it. He knows it. You can be honest with him. I don't like this. But I'm going to do it because I'm going to be obedient, consistent, and I'm going to make sure that I form discipline in my life. This is when you become a true powerhouse. This is when he starts dumping down even extra commissions that are reassigned from other people who wouldn't do this. This is the secret to God's training. And I will tell you, it's absolutely worth it. It's worth it for the relationship that you get with God, number one. It's worth it because you become a better person and come closer to being like Christ. And it's the most wonderful thing, because what comes out of it, the treasure that you receive, is beyond your wildest dreams. Be consistent in things that you don't necessarily like. It's essential. Hail Jehovah.